Okay, so I'm finished with my annual report. And now, of course, I can print this or export this as a PDF or convert that to Flash or to HTML. And I can also publish this either as a Blio ebook or as an ePUB. ePUB, which is probably the standard for ebook publishing that Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and also, of course, the Apple iBook store accept. I could also publish this as an app. There's several choices I can make, whatever is better. And in this case, I want to publish this as ePUB. Well, what do I need to do to prepare a print layout that I have here to publish as ePUB? My first page is fine. That's going to be a screenshot in my ePUB that QuarkXPress automatically will create for you. Let's go to the second page. And the thing to remember about ePUBs or eBooks is that you will see a reflow view on the device you publish to. So you won't have fixed line endings like in this case. You will have, depending on the device size and the font size, you will see that fonts, that text can break, can reflow. And for that, I need to now add text elements to the reflow view. I could do that automatically by going here in Layout, Add Pages to Reflow View in QuarkXPress, add all of the pages automatically or choose which pages, and create articles, everything to one article, so everything that's contained in the layout, or per spread one article. However, I don't want to do that because in my print layout I have things like folio, like page numbering, like captions or whatever that I don't want to maybe add to my ebook because I don't think they make sense. So I want to do that manually. For that, I have a Reflow tagging palette, and I have several things that I want to add to my Reflow view. The first thing is I want to add my highlights here. So I'm going to create a new article. I maybe will call that highlights. And since I want to have the headline in here, the first component I'm going to add is that highlight component for my article. And the next thing is the body text for that article. So I can now edit this and call this something else. Maybe call that highlights in detail. And I can also classify what this is. So I'm fine with a body text for this thing here. However, my highlights, I forgot to classify. It's not going to be body, it's going to be maybe a headline too, right? And we'll see that later when we go to Reflow view, what the tagging, why the tagging is important. You have to remember when you export this, the ebook reader will try to make sense out of the semantic tagging, out of the meanings that you give these components. So that's very important that you classify it correctly. I'll show you that in a second. The next thing I want to add is I want to create a new article here, and I'll just call that Year in Review. It can be different than what you have in your print layout, and I'll add a component. I'll just add this one. I'll add the body here, and I add this body here, and so on. I'll go to the next page. Here maybe I could add this component also to the article that comes from the page before. So you're not limited to the structure that print gives you. You can add whatever. I could add all these elements. And what I want to do here is I want to create a new article, and I want to add a picture here to my article. So let's call that maybe words from our CEO. And in this case, I would like to add maybe the headline here, key events, the body text, this body text here. I want to add the picture of the CEO and maybe the quote underneath here. And now I'm done with my adding elements to Reflow view. So let's have a look how this Reflow view will look like. So I'll go to View, Reflow view, and I can see all of the elements now that I added to Reflow view. So I have my article name here, highlights, 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 highlights in detail. I can always click on an element in here and say show that in Reflow view. So if I'm curious about key events, let's have a look. Our key event starts here, that's fine. I could also edit this. I could, if I choose so to do, I can edit text here and maybe remove a line break and put an and in here, stuff like that. I think you get the idea. So this is not a screenshot, this is actual text that I can edit, and that also flows. Okay, down here is my CEO, and what I don't like about the CEO is that the picture and the caption is very much at the end. It would be nicer if these elements would maybe be right after the headline of key events here. So in my Reflow tagging palette, I can of course also move elements up. So I can move the CEO up to this position and the quote maybe underneath the CEO, so that this looks much better for my key event CEO, the quote, and then the letter to our readers. So the order is important. You can have a different order than in print, and of course you can always change that. And one important thing that you still need to do, so if I go back to my first one, remember we already gave some semantic meaning to all of the elements here, and you can see that by the formatting that I have in this article. If I go back to my CEO key event, I still need to do the tagging. So what is that? What does it mean? What is the semantic meaning of this element? These are not style sheets down here that are meaning, so I can put this as a headline so you can see that the formatting will show you as a reminder that you have tagged it, that it's correct. However, the e-reader, the ebook reader later on might choose to display it differently. So you're really just giving meaning to your elements here, and maybe I have my figure caption for my CEO here, so I'll tag that too, and the rest is fine as body. Okay, so let's close that. We're almost finished. We have done our Reflow view. The last things I need to do for ePUB publishing is I need to create some metadata so that somebody knows this is our annual report 2010, what these things really are when I publish them later to an ebook store. The author is Quark, any ISBN number, description, keywords, and if I have a spine image for a 3D view of my book, I can include that here too. I'll say okay. And now I'm basically done. I'll go to export as ePUB. I will do that on my desktop. I will just call that annual report ePUB, and I want a table of contents which I automatically create by clicking this checkbox. Let's save that out, and I'm done. Let's have a look how this will look like. I will double click this. I've set up an e-reader in Firefox. Of course, you can use any other kind of e-reader. You can see my first page has become a screenshot. I have a table of content that was created out of my articles. So I can go to highlights. Here's my highlights, year in review, and I could also, of course, use the page navigation down here. The nice thing is, remember, this is live text. So if I make the text larger or smaller, you can see that it's reflowing also if my device or my reading screen changes. And the last thing I want to do is I want to have a look at my article with the picture. So here is my key events. You can see it's larger because it was a title. You can see the caption being smaller. There's my picture, and down here is my text.